What's going on, everybody? It is David Schlotthauer here, your weather enthusiast, and in this video, we are tracking a pretty interesting weather pattern that is going to bring pretty significant weather impacts across the West, into the Midwest, and even for the Great Lakes over the next couple of weeks. Now, before I do get started with the video, if you're new to the YouTube channel and you really like these detailed weather videos, weather discussions on hurricane seasons, severe weather seasons, winter storms, and much more, including live streams, please consider hitting that red subscribe button right now. If you enjoy the content, hit the like button and share this video with their family and friends on social media. Not only that, but Evan James has put together one of the best weather websites out there. It is called the Mesovort WX weather website. It is free to join if you want to participate, interact with people, see what they post and everything like that. Please consider going to the link listed in the description below this video if you want to participate in the Mesovort WX weather website. You can view posts. There's a lot you can do. It is one of the best websites. So I want to give a huge shout out to Evan James for making this possible, because without him, we would not have this website around and weather would probably be a little bit more boring. But you know what's not boring at all? Is the Weather Force Discord server. If you also want to participate in that, there's a link in the description below this video. Here, you could also interact with Evan James, the website designer, the one that he made, and also you could interact with me and many others, including our awesome staff team, Fire Ant, Multi-Relic. It's just a great place to hang out and have some fun, make jokes, talk about weather, and talk about sports and politics. It's a really great server. So if you haven't participated in that, there's a link in the description below this video. So to start things off, here's a look at your current weather conditions going on across the United States right now from tropicaltidbits.com, the GOES 16 Channel 9 water vapor satellite imagery. And this shows us where there's drier air in darker gray colors and where there's moisture maybe associated with thunderstorms, more rain coming, right? So here's a look at the satellite imagery, and we can see the next system is marching in across California. We're seeing increasing high clouds. The winds are also starting to pick up out ahead of this, especially along the coast. And then, of course, if we go into the Great Lakes region, we have a trough of low pressure. As you can see here, this kind of ghostly looking swirly motion, an indication that there is lower pressure nearby. And that is bringing in some cooler air associated with it out of the north, with a pretty strong jet stream that is over the southeast, ahead of more active weather that the southeast will be encountering over the next couple of weeks. So on we go now to our RTMA data. A really great thing that I like to use quite a bit is Pivotal Weather to provide that. And so we can see current temperatures right now. It is cold out there in the Dakotas. Temperatures right around 10 to 15 degrees above zero. Man, that's cold for mid-March. Yeah, today's March the 18th, and it feels more like January. Look at the Great Lakes region like Michigan, right now in Indiana. If you are in Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, it is cold out there. Temperatures in the low 20s right now. Not going to warm up too much today because of the cooler air that is in place. But further south, temperatures are warming up a little more nicely here with 50s and maybe even some low 60s. But still striving for the 80s down here in Orlando and Miami, Florida, Daytona Beach. If you're in Tampa, Florida, you gotta love it. It's really nice and mild out there. And then, of course, for the west, it is also warming up really nicely. Actually, I took a walk outside in the vineyard, got to watch a crop duster, and the weather was beautiful, nice and warm to see that all happen today. Yes, I got woken up by early because of that crop duster playing. Thing is so noisy, but hey, it gets me up. It gets my day started earlier than usual. So for the Pacific Northwest, temperatures right now in the low to mid 50s. For the valleys, temperatures are cooler aloft because as you get higher up, temperatures do cool off, including for the Rockies there. We've seen temperatures currently into the 20s and 30s, and temperatures in the 40s across the Northeast. So now, let's take a look at our weather alerts, because pretty quiet pretty quiet for once, right? There's not much color on the map. Other than if you're in California, we're getting ready for another big winter storm. Strong winds, heavy snow for the mountains. We've seen enough of it this year. I'm literally done with winter. We need spring, we need summer back. Please, we need us a break from the rainfall. But I guess we're not going to get a break anytime soon for a while. More cooler weather for the southeast, for the deep south, under freeze warnings. I mean, what the heck? Is this March or is this January, folks? I don't understand. It is really cold. It's very unusual to see temperatures 20 to 35 degrees below average in the deep south and the southeast on the 18th of March, and that's why there are freeze warnings, freeze watches, just a lot of impacts. Make sure you bring your pets, your plants, and any livestock inside, because the plants could get seriously destroyed and damaged because of frost and freeze impacts on those plants. We got winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings due to some lake effect enhancement over the Great Lakes here. The lakes are recordly warm. They haven't really had a chance to really cool down this year. So you're going to get a lot more lake effect snow than usual in these areas. And therefore, there is winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories. There's a lot of impacts on the way for that region. And yes, there's a lake effect snow warning for, say, Erie, Pennsylvania. You can see it right here under that lake effect snow warning, including, let's go over here to Buffalo, New York, under, actually not Buffalo, Watertown, New York, under a lake effect snow warning. Yeah, there is impacts, okay, because of that colder air that is in place, and that's going to continue to bring the threat for heavy lake effect snow from time to time today. So now let's take a look at that GFS model. Is there any more interesting weather coming? That's what the thumbnail says. That's what the title is going to say. And therefore, everyone's wondering, any interesting weather coming? The answer is yes. There is more interesting weather coming. Just not right now, but maybe in a couple of days. All right, so we can see strong Arctic high-pressure system overhead, responsible for the cold temperatures over much of the eastern half of the U.S. You can blame the Arctic high for that. Warmer weather back west, and that's because of an approaching shortwave trough that's going to eject into our area, bringing rain with it for Sunday and Monday, and we can see this evolve quite nicely. By Sunday morning, we get rain and thunderstorms, perhaps along this boundary over the west here, with strong southerly winds out ahead of this. Not as strong as what we had with prior systems, but otherwise, much of the nation here looking very quiet for now. But don't be fooled. Don't get comfortable, because, yeah, it doesn't stay quiet for too long, and always calm before the storm means something big is going to happen. So let's go forward here for Monday, for Tuesday, looking pretty quiet all the way until we get into maybe Tuesday. There is going to be a lee side cyclogenous cyclone forming over the eastern Colorado state, including for Kansas. And this is going to draw up moisture from the Gulf. Okay, this is March 21st. And then another system going to hit California. See, folks? Not going to stay quiet for too long. All right, that's why we make these videos almost every day, especially this time of the year. Now, when we go forward into Tuesday, we can see there's more rain, more strong winds anticipated. For the north, more snow, but except this is going to be a little further north. But look what's going on in California. I mean, my goodness, that is a very strong trough this time of the year, slamming Southern California and Central California. I mean, you guys have actually taken the cake as far as the amount of rainfall goes this winter season. I mean, you guys are complaining about, man, the Santa Ana winds, high fire danger. It is so warm down here. Not this year. A whole different story ball game. More rain, more snow for the lower elevations, and strong winds from the south. And so that's going to really help to moisten soils up even more. So for the fire season, hopefully it won't be as bad, right? Because we're going to have all of this moisture on the ground to begin with. But nevertheless, too much is too much, and we're literally done with all the moisture. There's going to be more mudslides, debris flows. There's going to be a lot of problems. More heavy snow for the Intermountain West, especially for California. So that this system moves out, okay? This is for Wednesday, March 22nd. More rain, of course, for the Appalachians, for the Ozarks, and more snow here for the upper Midwest and Northern Plains, the North Central region, and then for the Intermountain Desert Southwest. Yeah, that system's going to be propagating eastward, and when it gets eastward, it also reforms on the other side of the Rockies. This one doesn't look to be particularly strong. Maybe some minor impacts with snow and rain amounts with that, with some breezy winds that are anticipated. This is for Thursday morning, 5 days out. Then there's that other system moving into the northeast. And then there's a little bit of a breather before, well, for the west, I guess, before more active weather returns. But look at this. A stalled out front could bring in more enhancement of showers and thunderstorms. Some of them could actually be severe, so keep that in mind. If you're out for Thursday and Friday, if you're going out with a friend or anything, watch out. There could be thunderstorms here. But the good news is the GFS model, there's a little bit of uncertainty in regards to how this is going to pan out. You can see I just looked over the last 4 model runs, and there is a little bit of willy-washy between if this is going to go further north. But whoever gets it is going to get a lot of rainfall, and there might be some flood concerns with that. By Friday into Saturday, that storm system moves further southeast, and it kind of gets diffused. It kind of gets mingled apart. But there's another one. Another one. Can you believe that? It's the one that's going to be in California and Nevada, and this is for Friday. More snow, more colder temperatures, and more strong winds. Yes, I guess we're used to this. I mean, we're going to be so used to the colder temperatures that 80 degrees is going to feel like 100 degrees for us when it really begins to warm up. And that usually happens in April and May when we get our first round of hotter weather. Now, there's some questions about next weekend. And you're going to hear this on a lot of other YouTube channels that, oh my gosh, there's a major land hurricane going to develop here. There's a mega storm going to be blowing up here. There's a lot of uncertainty in regards to this. The European and the GFS deterministic models are not agreeing entirely well on this. So I'm going to be the one that is going to be profusely more generous in my forecast, and I'm not going to go ahead of myself and be like, oh my gosh, you're going to get a 2-foot snowstorm. You're going to get severe weather. It's going to be wild. It's going to be out of control. Whatever. Okay? You're going to hear that on a lot of other weather YouTube channels. You know who you are. I am not going to name you, because if I do, then I'm going to be called out in a hurtful, bad way, and I don't want that to hurt my brand. So you know who you are. I would suggest, back it up a little bit, because we're still like 7 to 9 days away before this actually happens. But let's go forward. Okay, Sunday morning, there it is. There is the curlicue, mega, however you want to put it. You're going to hear this from other weather channels. They're going to say, oh, this is deadly. This is a mega snowstorm. This is a mega blizzard. This is a historical winter storm, whatever. Be very careful who you watch, okay? In my sense, this is not historical by any means, because it's too far out. That's the funny thing, right? So, for right now, wonk wonk, I'm not calling it. I don't think it should exist, because you can get these big, nasty, spring-like storms, but this is a little too far out to call, and we can see that. Let's go back and look at the previous model runs. This is for March 26th for Sunday morning, and you can see, look at the difference between one single model. I mean, this was 06Z on March 18th, so that was the prior run. Look how far south that is. I mean, you got snow in literally, come on, in the panhandle of Oklahoma. Now you don't. So there's a lot of uncertainty here, and just a couple of model runs, it wasn't even there. So yeah, that's why I am not jumping the gun and being like, oh, there's going to be a historic snowstorm. Oh my gosh, this is going to kill people and stuff. No. There's a 5% chance and less that this actually occurs. This is outside of the 8-day forecast by the SPC. So we don't even know. You're already going to jump the gun and say, oh, this is going to be a big severe weather outbreak if this happens, David. Yeah, if it happens, which probably it won't, but we shall watch the trends on models to see if this does happen, because if it does, it is going to be downright impactful. All right, so that's Sunday to Monday. That moves into the Northeast. It's going to kind of get broken apart because of the dynamics, going to become more or less favorable for further dynamic systems, and that's going to stall out of front in the Southeast. So now, as far as severe weather goes for next week, let's actually go to the SPC on that one. We can see there is a 15% risk for severe weather for central Oklahoma and northern Texas. Now, this is probably, it's a little uncertain right now. It's not one of those crazy 8-day slight risks where we think it's going to be a big day coming up. For right now, this is more of a lower end 15%. I checked all of the convective models and everything. There's a lot of mediocre kind of dynamics being involved here. How much appreciable instability, how much moisture advects off the Gulf of Mexico is to be announced. We just don't know exactly with what's going to happen. We have dew points in the low to mid 60s. We have a dry line, but we just have to wait if the dynamics are going to come together for a severe weather episode. Not an outbreak. We're not talking about anything substantial right here. It's just one of those general like 15% risks for day 6. We'll see if this gets higher up in later outlooks, but right now, I am not too excited. In other words, I'm not putting a lot of time or a lot of impetus that this is going to be a big Willy Wonka, Willy Washa, whatever you want to call it, one of those bigger classic high plains events of severe weather. So now to the temperatures. Let's take a look, because the cold air likes to kind of hang around for a while. Now that we talked about severe weather department, we're now going to talk about those temperatures, and they are going to be cold by tonight. It's temperatures still in the single digits. I mean, this is wonderful. Well, not so wonderful if you're in it. 6 degrees. I mean, it's not warming up very much. I mean, it doesn't warm up literally at all today. And it's going to get cold tonight. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean, we are literally a couple of days away from spring, and these temperatures are in January. What the heck? -2 degrees in Minneapolis? I mean, come on. Come on. This is ridiculous. Temperatures in the 20s and low 20s, even some upper teens in the higher elevations of the Appalachians there. Really cold across the Midwest, and that's going to continue. Look at that up and across portions there of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, even Ontario, Canada. Temperatures -15, -20 degrees. That is really cold for this time of the year, and it's going to stay that way for a while. Not much warmer weather. Now, there is a huge rebound in temperatures for a lot of locations, of course, by the time we go into Wednesday, March 22nd, with temperatures in the 70s and 80s, but that too won't last probably very long, because there's going to be more colder air that comes out of the north. Not super cold, but it's going to be chillier than it typically should, with temperatures dropping back into the 50s in the Midwest. But deep south, you're going to love the warm weather. It is coming right back into town before that dynamic system comes in and we try to get more colder air out of the north. I mean, this is March 28th. That is -17, -20 degrees in Montana and North Dakota. Now, again, that's 10 days out. I highly doubt that that's actually going to verify. But yeah, that is in historical analogs for some of the coldest temperatures in March in forever. All right, so we got to really see on how that trends in future model runs on the GFS. You know, the GFS tends to be crazy about things at 10 days. So snowfall totals for the Intermountain West. Again, notice how I don't go beyond 180 hours. That's because, again, that fake news winter storm, how people will mention about it on YouTube. They're going to say it's a fake winter storm, and it is fake because it's too far out, and I'm not going to put a lot of impetus on it. So I'm not going to show the snow totals really much for the northern plains. Otherwise, I'm going to show you guys 2 or 3 feet of snow, and you guys are going to trust me, and we don't want that. But the Intermountain West, you're going to possibly see 2 to 4 feet of snow for the highest peaks, especially for the Sierras and maybe for portions of the Colorado Rocky Mountains. For the highest peaks, the valleys, probably 3 to 5 inches of snow is anticipated. So now, why is this weather pattern very interesting in the first place? Why is it really out of control? Like, what is going on here? Well, if we take a look at the 500 millibar jet stream pattern, this is the geopotential height anomaly provided by tropicaltidbits.com or Levi Cowan. And as we go forward, we got this trough. What do troughs like to do? They like to bring in colder air out of the north. It's common sense. That's just what they do. They bring a lot of this cooler air, and when it's cold, especially for the northern tier of the US, because you get that continental air mass from Canada. But the pattern does change temporarily because the West Coast trough returns, and then you get ridging, subtle ridging across the east. Well, that brings in warmer air from the south, right? So a nice warm-up is anticipated in about 3 to 4 days across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Deep South, and the Southeast. You're going to get away from this cold weather in a few days. Don't worry, the pattern's changing, but not so much for the West here. Going to be very cold for the next several days. And we'll look at the Climate Prediction Center here in just a bit, but look at this ridge here. Very dynamic system or a weather pattern. Trough back west and a ridge back east here. You can see this whole overall flow kind of jumping the gun here over the eastern half, and that's going to affect 70s, even 80s, and even pushing 90 degrees perhaps over Florida by the right around springtime. It's going to feel like summer down there because the way our pattern is, it's already messed up as it is. So why not? Let's call it summer when it really isn't. All right, so let's take a look here. I'm updating these tabs really quickly. And you can see our, let's go to, there we go, Climate Prediction Center. Your temperatures are going to be below average for much of the West. I mean, California has not been let go out of below average temperatures. I'm counting weeks here, and I think this is the 3rd or 4th week we have had below average anomalous chances of temperatures over California of some degree, either if that's leaning below or well below. It has not been warm at all. In fact, the climate analogs have supported temperatures of 10 degrees below normal in the last 90 days across California, which is pretty significant. All right, one of the coldest winters on record in a long-term sense. It is going to warm up though again for the southeast, like we talked about with the large-scale ridge pattern back east. It's going to build in and it's going to change our pattern. So while it's cold now, it is not going to last. So our 8 to 14 day outlook here, still below average for the West. Yes, I'm used to it already. 60 to 70% chance of that occurring. And then let's go back east here. It is still leaning above average. I mean, Florida, the entirety has had at least some sort of above average temperatures for a long time. I mean, it's been it hasn't even been winter there. It's been summer-like for quite a while. Precipitation, 6 to 10 days, leaning towards above average for much of the Intermountain West. It is also leaning above average for the Southeast, for the Upper Midwest, and the Northeast, like New England. So again, some much needed precipitation is needed up here, or at least in New York, since you guys haven't had much snow. Maybe you'll get still a little bit of snow, the remnants of that over the next couple of days. Leaning below average, though, for southwestern Texas otherwise. Still the same pattern. In we go for the 8 to 14 day outlook. Still leaning above for precipitation across the Intermountain West. Same ordeal across the Great Lakes and the Upper Midwest. And also for the Ozarks, portions of the Ozarks and the Southeast, with leaning below average chances there for rainfall and snowfall for western Texas and New Mexico. I tried to spiff this up a little bit more, giving you guys the most accurate weather, truthful information that I can give you possible. and gave you some tips on what YouTube channels to watch. I shouldn't really have said that. I feel really bad, but we gotta get the point across to people that just be careful who you watch on weather on YouTube, because some of them do hype up stuff and some don't. Like me, I'm really holding my ground at trying to keep things really calm in the studio here. But if you guys do like the YouTube channel, like what I do, please consider subscribing, share this with your family and friends, and also leave a fantastic Willy Wonka comment in the section below this video. And also, you got to check out Mezzovort WX. There's a link in the description below this video. I gotta give special awesome thanks to Evan James for making this website possible. Yeah, Evan James, you are Revan Gevin, awesome Evan. All right, that's what you are, because you are awesome at putting this website together. I feel special because I am actually making posts on a public domain website, and I feel really awesome about that. If you guys want to check me out there, you can find me there on Mezzovort. But also, you can find me here on Discord at WeatherForce. Just click on the link below to get started, and you are in the server. There is no cost whatsoever. We have the multi-watcher in there. We have Evan James. We have a lot of awesome communications in there. We keep each other updated and weather aware all season long, including myself. But you can only join that if you do join today. It's free. There's no cost whatsoever. We would love for you to come on down and interact with us. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be back with you more tomorrow with more awesome weather content. Stay tuned!